This morning is a time of dwelling in the scriptures related to Jesus' obedient walk to the cross and his atoning death for us, for you, for me, and for us together. There is no program or words from the front other than scripture. The idea is to hear a brief section followed by a period of reflection. Visually, this will be a fairly centenary presentation. Spiritually, it is profound as we reflect on God's great love for us. Join me in Matthew chapters 26 and 27. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas, the high priest, in whose house scribes and elders had gathered. But Peter was following him at a distance as far as the court of the high priest, and going inside he sat with the guards in order to see how this would end. Now the chief priest and the whole council were looking for false testimony against Jesus, so that they might put him to death. But they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. At last two came forward and said, "This fellow, I am going to destroy the temple of God and build it in 3 days." The high priest stood up. "Have you no answer? What is that they testify against you?" But Jesus was silent. Then the high priest said to him, "I put you under oath before the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God." Jesus said to him, "You have said so. But I tell you, from now on, you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes, and he said, "Blasphemy! Why do we still need witnesses? You have now heard his blasphemy. What is your verdict?" They answered, "He deserves death." Then they spat in his face and struck him, and some slapped him, saying, "Prophesy to us, you Messiah. Who is it that struck you?" Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. A servant girl came to him and said, "You also were with Jesus the Galilean." But he denied it before all of them, saying, "I do not know what you are talking about." When he went out to the porch, another servant girl saw him, and she said to the bystanders, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again he denied it, and with an oath, "I do not know the man." After the little while, the bystanders came up and said to Peter, "Certainly you also are one of them, for your accent betrays you." Then he began to curse. He then swore an oath, "I do not know the man." At that moment, the cock crowed. Then Peter remembered what Jesus had said, "Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly. When morning came, all the chief priests and the elders of the people conferred together against Jesus in order to bring him to death. They bound him, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate the governor. When Judas' betrayer saw that Jesus was condemned, he repented and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priest and the elders. He said, "I have sinned by betraying innocent blood." But they said, "What is it to us? See to it yourself." Throwing down the piece of silver in the temple, he departed, and he went and hung himself. But the chief priests, taking the pieces of silver, "It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, since they are blood money." After conferring together, they used them to buy the potter's field as a place to bury foreigners. For this reason, the field has been called the Field of Blood to this day. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken through the prophet Jeremiah. And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of one of whom the price had been set, on whom some of the people of Israel had set a price, and they gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord commanded me. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus said, "You say so." But when he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he did not answer. Then Pilate said to him, "Do you not hear how many accusations they make against you?" But he gave him no answer, not even a single charge, so that the governor was greatly amazed. Now, at the festival, the governor was accustomed to release a prisoner for the crowd, anyone whom they wanted. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Jesus Barabbas. So after they had gathered, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you want? Me to release you, or Jesus Barabbas, or Jesus who is called the Messiah?" For he realized that it was out of jealousy that they had handed him over. While he was sitting on judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, "Have nothing to do with that innocent man, for today I have suffered a great deal because of a dream about him." Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and have Jesus killed. The governor again said to them, "Which of the two do you want to release for you?" And they said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "Then what should I do with Jesus, who is called the Messiah?" All of them said, "Let him be crucified." Then he asked, "What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Let him be crucified." So when Pilate saw that he could do nothing, but rather that a riot was beginning, he took some water and washed his hands before the crowd. And he said, "I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourself." Then the people as a whole answered, "His blood be on us and on our children." So he released Barabbas and them, and after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified. This concludes today's reading of the Gospel of Matthew. Go in peace.